And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect when some people on Facebook that knew me back from high school were posting stuff that was factually incorrect, and that's the way that they liked to do things, which was to post what they wanted, and then got upset because I was posting what I wanted, which was corrections to their crap. Part of this is also to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm known as Shujin Tribble all over the place. You can find me on all of the things under /Shujin Tribble plus Shujin Tribble at Shujin Tribble. That's my nickname. You see what I did there?
Ouch.
I was born to a Roman Catholic family in Brooklyn, New York, raised on Long Island. I currently reside outside of Buffalo, New York, and I'm an unabashed atheist. You will notice that there's a little bit of a change up in the lineup. I'll explain why momentarily. Starting from the left side of the continent, good evening, Dallin.
Good evening, folks, and I will have to apologize. My camera has decided that it wants to be replaced. Unfortunately, it's too late at night for me to go out and get one. Online known as Dallin, born and raised in northern Canada to a Lutheran family, although religion wasn't exactly the highest on our priority list when it came to life. I was always encouraged to keep an open mind, never stop asking questions, and fell in love with learning. This has helped me in my personal and professional life thus far. And up until recently, I was a very live and let live kind of guy, until the fundies started really being stupid, and I realized it was time to stamp that stupidity out.
Moving to the right on the map, over into Ontario, good morning, Heretic Woman.
Good morning. And of course I am from Ontario, Canada. Started out in the United Church of Canada, which is pretty darn liberal as far as churches go, but then I kind of did a dumb move and, joined a Calvinist sect, which I really don't recommend. But I figured it out pretty early, and I've been an atheist for 26 years now. Kind of like Dallin, was sort of happy in my own little bubble, but seeing all of the harm and ridiculousness that religion causes, I now have to speak up and be a pain in the rear of religion everywhere.
Moving to the south of me to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph. My name is Joseph Cox. I was born to a Roman Catholic Irish family in Chicago, Illinois. Spent 8 years in the military. What are you shaking your head about?
You'd think after all these weeks you'd actually have this down better than I did.
Oh, bite me. Now I am living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania as an atheist, a graphic designer, a lover of all things intellectual, and an autodidact, a word that only autodidacts need to know.
Great. Moving off to the right a little bit into the shadow of Washington, D.C. Good evening, Unrenode Tech.
Ready? Autodidact. A self-taught person. Okay, great. We've educated our crowd. Mission accomplished. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye. No.
All right, that's it. Thank you for watching the show, everybody. It's been fun hanging out with us.
I'm Unrenowned Tech. I grew up in a mixed religious household. We were always taught to ask questions if we didn't know anything, and don't be afraid to ever ask a question. To be curious about things. And over time, I just, between studying other religions and trying other ones, really wholeheartedly trying the faith, not on like a suit, but actually believing in it. It all just washed away, and it was revealed to be just utter bullcrap.
It's a good choice of words for it. Moving across the pond, you made it just in time. Good morning, Chris.
Oh, good morning, Shujin.
Wow, that's blowing out.
What's that?
Your microphone was really hard driving there for a second.
All right. Hopefully that's it'll behave itself during the rest of the show.
That's much better. Remember, you've got optical cable that everything's running through. You don't have to push it through the phone line quite so hard.
He's got a series of tubes.
Yes, it does.
Yes, and a bit of string with a can on the end.
We have the technology.
Yes, you do. Go ahead and introduce yourself, since you almost missed.
Oh, hi, yeah, I'm Chris from England. Been an atheist most of my life, was raised vaguely Catholic, but from an early age it didn't seem to make much sense. And like Alan, I was pretty much live and let live until a couple of years ago, where I started paying attention to all of the harm and that nonsense was doing in the world.
And finally, just south across the channel into France. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning. My name's Joseph. I was brought up Anglican. Didn't see much sense in it, and I was pretty well like the rest of the crew, live and let live, until the fundies started actively trying to get into our media and education system. And since then, I've been doing everything I can to promote independent thought and critical thinking.
So, those of you might notice that we are just down one person at the moment. Bridget is out gallivanting about the countryside, apparently, for no bizarre reason other than maybe she's looking for werewolves. I don't know what the hell's going on. All I know is that she is out there. She's being safe on her travels, at least. It's my hope. And we'll see you back as soon as you get back on. Meantime, if you are watching live, of course, thank you very kindly. Please feel free to take advantage of the question and answer system, which is up and running as always. Do see Katie over there, and good morning, hon. So the topic for this evening I'm going to get to, of course, momentarily. We've got a couple of things that we're going to talk about briefly, and I'm saying briefly because it's not going to take very long to go through it. Hopefully it will put a smile on your faces. If you'd like to send information our way, please feel free. You can send a tweet my way at holycraptv or at Shujin Tribble, and we'll see what we can do about all that. In the meantime, however, with apologies to Noah and Heath from The Scathing Atheist, with 5 minutes on the clock, freestyle starts right about now. As usual, I end up thinking stuff while I'm working, because, you know, brainless activity, it's a wonderful thing when you can do that. And as usual, it happened while I was out driving around, so I wrote stuff down on this little piece of paper while I was driving, and before you go ahead and give me crap about it, all I did was put the notebook on my leg, took a pen, and put it down on my thigh and wrote as I was driving like this, so I didn't have any real problem because I was at a stoplight, fortunately, which would explain the chicken scratch that I've got over here.
You didn't use your mouth.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Unlike Scott Manley, who can apparently land on the frickin' moon with his face. Well done, Scotty. Well done. In any case, I had a thought that I thought about a while ago, and it's kind of something that I got a little bit from somebody that I knew in the military at one point. And before you guys go asking, no, you don't know him. And it was something that had stuck in my head for years, very easily a decade. And it finally kind of came together for me. Now, for those of you that follow the Bible, or minimally the Old Testament, and that can include several different groups, depending as to which version you're dealing with, commandment either, depending on your version, 5, 6, or 7, which in and of itself right there should tell you that there's something wrong if the 10 Commandments, which is supposed to be the Big 10, unless you're going by the Mel Brooks interpretation, which would mean the Big 15, if they don't all agree with the numbering system, maybe there's something that you need to check in about, but be that as it may. If you consider yourself a good Christian, you cannot be trotting around those yellow stickers, those yellow magnets, the little yellow tie a ribbon round the old oak trees. I know it's not the same meaning, but just go with me on this a second. I'm going to roll. That say, I support the troops. You can't do that. As much as you right-wingers want to go ahead and trot out your God stuff whenever you go into a voting block, and at the same time say that you support having a military. You can't be both and be good at both at the same time. It is simply impossible. Here's why. Have you looked up yet what 5 or 6 or 7 actually is? Because you should already know them by heart. I'll tell you what it is. On here is my explanation for it. It says, according to one interpretation, thou shalt not murder. Now, some people are going to go ahead and say that if you're in the military, you're going out there knowing full well that you're going to go and you're going to either kill or be killed. And that it's just part of the job, and it's not murder because you're going in there full well knowing full well you are going to be there. It's not that you're premeditating to kill a particular person. You're just going out there and, it's the defense of whatever, even if you are the aggressor, but be that as it may. Well, there are a lot of ranged weapon specialists out there in the military. Snipers come to mind. They are intentionally trained to kill from a long distance and not be noticed until it's well past too late. Well, that kind of conflicts with supporting somebody who's breaking your 5th, or is it 6th or 7th commandment? I mean, how can you support somebody that completely contradicts what your book says? And if your interpretation of it is not thou shalt not murder so much as thou shalt not kill, well, that's the exact point of what the military is, isn't it? I mean, that's exactly what their job is. It's what you pay them for, theoretically. Although we know full well sometimes that doesn't exactly happen, now does it? Be that as it may. How can you go with this and still say, I'm a good Christian and I support my troops, when they're completely going exactly against your book? One of the Big 10, and they're going to break that right in front of your face. So now what? Which commandments are you going to completely ignore because it makes you feel good? How about bacon? How about shrimp? How about bacon wrapped shrimp? I like that idea a lot. How about you go ahead and you support the gay and lesbian and transgendered people? How about you support the blacks? How about you support the women? How about you support your fellow man and woman? How about you support your fellow human? Why? Because it goes completely and utterly against your book. And if it's convenient for you to forget one piece of your book, why don't you just forget the whole rest of it? Because it's obviously not doing anybody any good.
Don't forget that they're... Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm done with that part.
Well, okay. But don't forget that those rules apply to only people on their team.
Yes, and they're exactly the people I'm talking to. This is episode 067. Yes, I actually had to figure it out. And by the way, Tom and Cecil, I get my numbers right. And I don't need a script for it either. Actually, I write it out every time. Before we get to, of course, the typical meat and potatoes, let's go ahead and do the unfortunate and usual roundup. Heretic woman, you know what's coming. Do we have Rafe Badawi in Canada as yet?
No, we do not.
At the time of this recording, it has now been 2 years, 11 months, 21 days since Rafe was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. We are still waiting for you, and we're still hoping. So we got a couple of things to talk about before we get into the real matter of it all. So the question becomes, which piece do we want to cover? We wanted to cover the funny one. We want to cover the disgusting one. We want to cover me being on the Imaginary Friends Show podcast. Nah, that would be self-serving. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But it totally was, which was great.
Yeah, and Shujin's not narcissistic in the least.
No,
Yeah.
hell no, not at all. Actually, I was very proud about that. I'm only mentioning it in all seriousness. I am mentioning it because I am exceedingly grateful. I really found out how weird it is for me to be on not the control side of a show. So, guys, thank you, and of course, we're gonna love to have you guys back again sometime soon, especially Nick, when you're finally on this side of the pond. Wait a second. Does it qualify as... All right, from here to England, it's typically qualified as the pond. Is there analogous to England, Australia?
I think it's over the pond, past the puddle, and jump the lake.
Well, it depends which way you go.
Or you can just say down under. Oh god, I need to hide now.
How about a crap ton of water?
A metric crap ton of water. I can go with that.
Yes.
It's a long swim, no matter how you put it.
Yeah.
The most inhospitable place on Earth.
I do believe that the flight from Australia to Canada is so long, even a Muslim will start drinking. There, I went there, deal with it.
Actually, I have to retract my previous statement. It is not the most inhospitable place. It is just the most hostile place to human life on Earth.
That's
Yeah,
true.
and I did find something out recently. Again, maybe this is my own naivete, and everybody on the panel is probably going to go, well, duh. There is a video that I shared on YouTube recently of people playing with the platypus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was
Okay.
that baby platypus?
Yeah. No, you look at that thing, and I mean, you're dying, okay? The cuteness overload, it's like over 9,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing has venom in its claws. Even the
no
cute
way.
stuff can kill you.
Well, I've heard that koalas will like scratch your face off.
I've seen those
that's-
claws up close, and yeah, I would not want to piss off a koala. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think you might be mixing them up with the drop bears.
The drop bears.
You know what? I really think drop bears are just koalas on that time of the month.
Koalas
This
on
is-
meth.
We're talking about
Yeah, there
Australia.
are no koalas, only drop bears.
No, there's
Eating on
no
bath
time of the
salts.
month in Australia. It all is a bad mood. It is all
Yeah.
looking to piss everybody off. Who are you kidding? If it's not looking to piss you off, it's looking to liquefy your insides.
That's
It's
yes.
one of the most dangerous, damn, and aggressive spiders we know of.
Yeah, I wouldn't even trust Nick's mustache at this point. Hi, Nick.
There's no way you could offer me $1 billion if I took a trip to Australia, and my answer would be nope.
Look at it this way. If ever they were going to find a highly venomous spider with wings, it's going to be in Australia.
I hate you so much right now, Shujin. I hate you so much.
Tell me I'm wrong, though.
You know what? The day that happens,
You see this?
I want to
Shujin?
capture one of those. I want to capture one of those, box it up, and send it to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Dear Ken, this is evolution. Screw you. Love me.
And yet, if you go to quite a different little island nation, Madagascar, home to the world's only vegan spider.
Wait, what?
There is a vegetarian spider living in Madagascar that feeds on fruit.
There's a really bad joke I'm not going to make right now.
Yeah,
Nick?
Probably, yeah.
there's a few of them brewing down there right now.
Yes, it is.
This in the name is just actually kind of, it makes me smile. The Bachyra kiplingi. No, wait, that's oh no, I stand corrected. This is a different. Okay, so now there's at least 2 breeds of vegan spider in the world.
Wow.
Count them, two vegan spiders.
Which
Yeah,
I'm just
George-
thinking, evolutionarily speaking, how the hell could this have happened? And I'm just picturing one day a spider is eyeing a fly as it's sitting on a strawberry and goes, misses, has its fangs buried into the frickin' berry, and it's like, the hell is this?
Fruit sugar.
The hell is that? The hell are those? Oh, yes.
Yeah. He gets such a sugar rush from the fruit that, he starts seeing colors like, I gotta get me more of this.
I can taste blue.
Yep.
Let's see.
So
It's
George, I know you're listening, or I know you're watching. Get on this, okay?
It just shows that some spiders are smarter than others. Let's see. This is brightly colored, easy to find, and doesn't try to run away. I'm sold.
Yeah. And we have a comment from Jessica, who, you take care of yourself over there, hon, who says, apparently this is in reference to Australia. And I made comment about Australia on the show, and I'm not going to repeat it right now, although I really want to. She says, quote, the entire continent's contents are the largest nope to ever nope. The people are all right. Some of the scenery is beautiful, but the wildlife, nope. And
By the way, Shujin,
yeah.
This is the feather. You don't deserve the whole bird for getting on this topic.
Jessica, allow me to introduce you to one of my favorite statements, honey bunches of nope.
Yep.
I'm taking the nope train to Gittville.
Yeah, I'm on the Hell Nope Express.
I'd go.
Yeah, Hell Nope Express to I'm out of here.
I'd
I know
go.
that town.
Unless there's a way I could, get an achievement, like go there, come back, get off the plane, and suddenly, ding, achievement unlocked.
Yeah, you spent 1 second off the plane on Australian soil, and you lived to tell about it.
Yep.
I would totally go. Now, I wouldn't go traipsing around in the outback, but I'd go.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we laugh, we joke a lot about it, but there are quite a few people living there, so it can't be that bad.
Nope.
I'm still a little jaded on the subject of Australia. I never got to go there as a boy and ride a giant golden eagle.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Probably ticked off that he didn't meet those two mice either.
We really don't have enough time to get all into all of what's wrong with Joey, so let's just move along at this point.
Yeah, move along.
So Jessica added the highway to nope.
White Queen.
Moving on, exactly right. And there's an AC/DC song about to have happen on that. We got to see about getting a parody together for that one.
Highway to nope.
Yep. By the way, yeah. Okay, and by the way, because I kind of passed it over on my notes over here, we would like to send a very large thank you for the countries watching this week. We're going to specifically thank Colombia, Greece, Armenia, Djibouti, and Malta. Yes, I actually pronounced it correctly. Djibouti. D-J-I. How the hell are you going to pronounce it? I'm going with Wacko's Countries of the World song, so screw y'all. That's the way it comes out. Okay, so now that all that piece is out of the way, first piece that we have to touch on is the gentleman for whom the term lunar bukkake has become synonymous.
What?
What?
Oh, you don't know about this one,
Ew.
but yes, you
wait.
do.
This is the one that I think it is.
Hold on, you do. Here it is. There is someone who believes the flood is an actual thing. And the way that it happened was, the Great Flood, the Great Noah's Flood.
No, wait, hold it. There actually is a term for it, and I've actually heard a geologist use it. I'm pretty sure she used it in jest, but it has been coined the Noarchian flood.
Okay, I don't know how that comes together.
Me neither, but I've just heard it called that. I believe it was also used in a quote. I don't mean to steal any thunder here, but how did she put it? A Noarchian deluge of bullshit.
Okay, so the idea is that the Great Flood that flooded the earth, according to biblical interpretation, is a deluge of water that came barreling out of the ground from under it, obviously, under incredible amounts of pressure, So much so that the water was launched out of the atmosphere into space, impacting on the lunar surface, giving us the craters that we see today.
Yeah, they call that the hydroplate theory.
Okay.
I call it the calling card of Nephilim Free.
And
Yeah.
I call it for what it is. Say it with me now.
Bullshit.
All right, we're getting away with it this time because now really short, because this does not require any more than 2 minutes worth to cover, because it's absolute crap.
Yeah, conservation of energy. It's not going to happen.
No, it's even better than that. First off, last week's show, as soon or very, very shortly after, within like 2 minutes after the show finished and was posted to YouTube officially, Nephilim Free, who, like I said, for whom the term lunar bukkake has been coined and attributed to now at this point, commented on the show with some collection of words that theoretically are supposed to be sentences and cogent thought that had nothing to do with anything we were talking about. And I, as the owner and administrator of this account, am not going to take down, I am not going to report, I am not going to block that comment, because I want you guys to go in there to episode 66 and read it for your own damn selves and comment all you want. I'm not going to tell you to go what to comment. I'm just going to say, read it, make up your own mind, and if there's something you want to go ahead and say about it, please, by all means, have at it. It's our little birthday present to you.
See,
Some of us kind of got the ball rolling on that too.
Yes, you did.
Unfortunately, I think it was Beth who actually said that it wasn't even an original thought.
Yep.
He had basically
He
plagiarized
stole it
Kent Hovind.
from Eric Hovind.
Oh, was it Eric Hovind? Okay.
And
Eric
unfortunately
Hovind.
for me... Oh, go ahead.
No, you got it, Joey.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I kind of jumped the gun on that one because it instantly registered to me, given the speed at which it was posted and the content, that this is basically spam. And I went ahead and reported it as such. And so it no longer shows up for me. So I don't have the ability to comment on it anymore. However, I did go ahead and pay a visit to Nephilim's page.
That's a fun trick.
I went ahead and posted a reply to him, not on any of his videos, but in his discussion section on his page. And then I had gotten into watching a couple of his videos just to make sure that I wasn't jumping the gun on this one. Needless to say, I wasn't disappointed. Actually, I was very disappointed, at least in a different degree. However, I had gotten into some discussion, and polite discussion, mind you, with some folks in the comment sections of some of his videos. However, I went back after each one and tended to notice a trend. Nephilim has this habit of posting on other people's content rather frivolously, but the second somebody posts on his content, he as quickly as possible removes that post. And here's exactly what he responded to me posting on his content as a result of that. And I'm reading this verbatim, so any alliteration or poor English, not on me. Atheists do not get to debate or preach on my channel. They haven't since I opened it in 2007. If you are so sure of your absurdities, if you're so sure your absurdities can be supported by some semblance of reality, you might like to try graduating to the world of people who actually debate live. I take on all comers in live debate. Now,
that way you can use all the fallacies to overwhelm you.
Oh, he is the master at the Gish Gallop. I've had the pleasure in person.
Despite my military history, I am not what you might identify as a violent person. However,
No, he has those guns for memories.
Well, I have them because I collect them. Same way some people collect stamps or coins. Mine just have a little bit more value and history behind them.
And kick.
True.
Yeah, there's a functional aspect to it as well.
However,
Remember,
to this,
guns don't kill people, folks.
now
Bullets do.
what really got my guff in this was that not only did he post this on my channel, but rather than posting it in my discussion page, showing me the same respect that I had shown him, he went ahead and posted this as a response to the one and only video that I thus far have ever posted on YouTube, which certainly isn't the best out there, but it was my own little tribute to one Leonard Nimoy when he passed away, which to me rings a little close to the whole Westboro Baptist Church kind of thing. And it kind of got under my collar. So I responded with a rather lengthy bit. I won't read it right now unless Shujin gives me the go-ahead.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But needless to say, if you do happen to make a stop by there and have a read through it, you'll see exactly why. I'm sorry, Nephilim, but I, for one, like to show my face when I'm speaking, and I'm sorry, no, I will not be debating you.
So we're going to make this real simple at this point. We've made it. Seriously, think about this a second.
I've done something successful with my life?
Yes.
Oh, crap. Mark it on a calendar.
Think about it this way. I started this with the intent of getting the hell away from pissing off people on a fun show. And it was me and Witchy starting it all off. And Tech, I don't remember if you were on the very, very first or not. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. But be that as it may. What have we got? We got my voice. We had Witchy's. We had Gavin's. Tech.
We had
Joey.
Dallin
Dallin.
early on.
Chris. Ashley. Joseph. Bridget. Heretic Woman.
And of course,
And-
some special guests like Noah and Heath and Cash.
But they had their own piece. We have used this place to get people's voices out that didn't already.
Mm-hmm.
I count that as a win. And if somebody who has no better thing on their time to do than to go ahead and just say, let's see who I can troll today, you know what? I consider that a win.
Well, look at
And-
comedians. You can judge how good a comedian is by the amount of trolls that they have at their shows.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
No,
when I was
actually,
talking
to
Nick
be
about that.
appropriate, you can judge how good a comedian is by their reaction to that.
Oh yes. Like Rogan, Joe Rogan. I love watching his going after the trolls videos. That's
Yep.
my favorite part of his shows because he just hits them with logic and common sense and the occasional verbal bitch slap.
And if ever we get the opportunity, Nick has let me know that he went after somebody that was a heckler at one show that he was at and nailed him out. And good job on that. But
Yeah, if he recorded that, he's got to post that for us.
who knows one of these days. But the point is, we have in our own way made it. I will never think of this as third-rate shit tier again because we've done. And we've got somebody that thought that we were worth trolling. That says something right there.
We've at least graduated from cargo. We're at least in economy class.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can live with that.
Yeah, we may not be first class, but we're still down to earth people.
Yeah, and third-rate shit tier would be a description best reserved for Nephilim 3.
At this point, yes. Very much so.
Yeah.
We could be at least second-rate.
Yeah,
Yes.
if anything, he is actually not even in the cargo. He's somewhere in the gear bay area.
Holding on to the landing gear. That's,
And you know the thing is, like,
He's running after the plane on the ground.
yeah.
He's trying.
now
He's
he's
trying.
riding
Wait,
on bullwhip or whatever the hell.
He was so
I'll do
busy
this.
trying to prove that the Earth actually opened up and ejected all that water, kind of like how you squeeze a
Yep.
cherry tomato and the guts come out. He was so busy doing that, he just ended up frickin' missing the flight, man.
I got it. He's trying to fly a tank. If you get the reference, thank you.
Wait a minute. I know of 4 people that actually, at least in a movie, were able to do that.
Yeah, and one of them was howling mad.
No. They weren't. They weren't flying. They were falling.
But gracefully.
With style.
Thank
Yes.
you, Shujin.
And what was that Die Hard movie? There was didn't they shoot down
No,
a
it was the
helicopter
A-team. They were flying
car?
the tank.
or something?
Oh, no.
Just
Yeah,
killed a helicopter with a car.
yeah, I remember that one too.
So that's you know what, Neff? Thank you. You helped made our night. So thank you so much for that. And by the way, cut it the hell out. Grow up.
Yeah, no.
You know
the
what?
thing is,
Move out and get your own job and your own money and
Shujin,
that's what? Huh? What?
this guy has gone after just about every single YouTuber out there that has a brain cell.
Wait, he's gone after Seth Andrews?
He hasn't gone after Seth Andrews yet because I think he knows the second he goes up against him, he go and get pwned.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
would
talking-
love to see him go after Aaron
Yeah,
Raw.
but I'm-
That
but
would
I'm
be a
talking-
bitch- That'd
yeah.
be an atomic bitch slap.
No, I'm talking Thunderfoot, Wildwood
Mhm.
Claire, King Crocoduck, I think, has gone after him. I think Coctopus Prime has had a few shots at him as well.
Wait a minute.
Aaron
Hold on.
Rao. So
Why would Nephilim
I'm
go
fairly
after
sure
Thunder?
Bionic Dance has done a few of his as well.
Okay, no, sorry, what was that attack?
Why would Nephilim Free not willing to go after like the likes of Aaron Raw or Seth Andrews, go after Thunderfoot?
Because I don't think he fully understood just exactly how scientific a mind Mr. Foot has.
Why?
Here's a guy who says the Earth opened up and water ejaculated out,
Yeah.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
and
now-
and suddenly
an
the
earthquake.
physicist or the physics mind of Thunderfoot, I can't remember what his credentials are, but he's got a lot more than I do. I think somewhere in the back of his head, the Price is Right theme song just suddenly lit up like, you are so going down.
Jessica, for one, what you're trying to describe is orbit.
Yes.
Secondly, special shout out to the guys over at, and this is not cursing because it's the actual name of the show, Talking Shit Tuesday, JD and all those folks over there. Cool to you.
Oh, and hi to Katie. We did see you. We didn't forget.
Um,
Chris seems to have dropped off. We'll get him back momentarily, I think. Yeah, Joe.
But I can sum up this whole thing with Nephilim and with everybody else in his little camp with a new word that I learned today, especially for this show, since we were supposed to be discussing words.
Oh god, here it comes.
Oh, right.
Etymology is kind of my thing.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that, Joe?
Can you say anti-disability? I can't.
Let the man.
Sorry, I dropped for a second there.
I just said etymology is kind of my thing. Okay, moving on.
Wait.
One word.
Hold on. Jessica just said that sounds like a reverse Final Fantasy move.
Yeah, she was talking about the ejaculation.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but how she described it is like, I'm in love.
but
So,
one word that perfectly sums up these individuals: cromulent.
Okay.
Oh dear, Queen.
Okay. In common parlance.
Cromulent. CROMULENT. A noun. Appearing legitimate, but actually being spurious, i.e., full of shit.
oh,
Yeah,
and
that's about right.
I've got another word for you. Entomology, the study of insects.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Moving on. Second piece that we need to cover really quickly, and I'm pretty sure I speak for the entirety of the panel with this one really quickly. And I mentioned this just before we went on the air. Ms. Jenner, if we could give you a brand new gold medal collectively, we would. Thank you for showing how brave you are, and good on you, and continued success. Who else wants to give kudos?
I will. And you know what? I'll even go as far to say as if it weren't for the fact that you're a little bit out of my age range, I'd ask if you were dating. But
I would actually like to say something.
Be all.
I find it. All right. There are people out there who think that gender identity dysphoria, if I'm saying it right, is not a real thing. It's just somebody who's mixed up. They need some medication. They need some therapy. They need God in their life or whatever. They forget that the human brain is, we don't fully understand how it works. We understand aspects of it. We understand certain things about it, but we don't understand everything about it. Okay? So until we do, until we can figure out what's going on, what can be done about it, and things like that, somebody who's going through gender identity dysphoria or crisis, or however you want to term it, somebody who doesn't relate to the gender that they're born with, the only current correction we have to that process is to change their body to match what their mental image of who they are should be. We should not be giving people shit about this, okay? Because first off, when people go have this and they don't go through the reassignment surgery, there's a very high suicide rate.
Mhm.
They look in the mirror and they see somebody else. They see something that's completely wrong with them, and no amount of religious study or psychobabble therapy or drugs, depending on the medications anyway, seem to correct this. The only thing that they have is the reassignment surgery. It seems to be more successful in that respect than anything else that we have currently available to us.
If I could,
These same people who attack these people who go through it.
No. That's a different thing in a second. I promise. We're going to get to that real quickly.
Oh, okay.
Chris, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was going to jump in on that, Tech. So I've been recently listening to a few interviews with trans people, and obviously these people are speaking from their own personal experience rather than a larger scale. And although while the full reassignment surgery is an option, it's one that a number of people don't choose to take because the surgery and the results are often far from perfect.
Right.
And it is sort of complex and dangerous, and so there are things that can be done with sort of drugs and hormones and proper therapy and sort of counselling techniques.
Right. When I
that
was referring to
can-
drugs, I meant things like marijuana or antidepressants, which those don't have the high success rate that hormone therapy does, or even just getting dressed up in different clothes.
Yeah, so and obviously I only know a very limited amount of this, but there's a whole range of treatments and options, most of which I'm probably completely unaware of. But it's not just sort of a matter of surgery or nothing. There's all kinds of various stages of transition that people will go to.
Yeah, I mean, I met one person who transitioning from male to female, and their process that they're going through, they started hormone therapy 3 years ago, and they're still going through it, and they're not planning on any surgery until like 8 years of hormone therapy.
Yeah, everybody's
something.
pathway. Yeah, everybody's pathway is going to be different for every individual, and it wouldn't totally surprise me, because theoretically, once you've gone through something like that, that's it. You want to make damned sure, and I would never begrudge anybody that said, I want to do it today, or I want to do it in 10 years after I've made sure. Heretic Woman, did you want to chime in on this one at this point?
I think it's fantastic what she's doing because, I mean, going through that openly as a, quote, regular person is bloody hard enough. And to do that when you are already under a microscope with everything that you do is incredible. And the people that say she's not courageous are, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yep. Dallin?
Well, for one thing, I bear her no ill will at all. I think what she did was, if this is what she's been wanting for all this time, you know, like Heretic Woman said, under the microscope. I mean, here's an Olympic decathlete, made it onto the box of Wheaties, as I found out last night. Well, no, I mean, that is kind of like a claim to fame, is that if you were a sports personnel and you make it onto the box of Wheaties, that was the thing back in the day.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And now on the cover of Vanity Fair.
a huge step up, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people would kill for.
I mean, and actually, Katie made an interesting point too in the Q&A, saying that for many, the transition is not financially feasible.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know, I wish her all the best, and to all of the people out there who want to basically, you know, like have the medals repealed and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, no. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Oh, no. All I wanted to say, Shu, is I want to quote the mayor of the city I live in. There are words I have, words that I would like to use, but I cannot. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well,
Yeah,
we're not at episode 70 yet, so I can't really use them.
Yeah. Yeah, Joey.
Well, there are words that I try not to just toss around, you know, just so easily. You know, bigot,
Because they have
sycophant.
sharp corners.
You know, bigot and sycophant, they get used a lot to the point where they kind of have no meaning anymore in a general conversation. But I will say this. My idea on this entire thing still boils down to the same idea that applies to so many issues that we bring up on this show. People, mind your own damn business. Because honestly, if they are doing something for their betterment, and it does not physically, financially harm you in any way, but rather only offends your senses or your ideals. See, I had to stop myself there because it's not Power of 10. Please, kindly, shut up.
I was gonna go with bugger off, but okay, come back.
Well,
And,
my original statement would have been one that Chris probably uses quite a bit, and like I said, I was going to avoid.
it's okay.
Bugger off.
Come back. And Joseph, really quickly, what piece do you want to get before we go ahead and lambast the people that deserve it?
Oh, just you know, I applaud the move, but you know, anybody who criticizes her is just the arrogance of it, because they presume to know somebody else's mind, and they want other people to conform to what they're thinking that these other people can't know either. It's just like a lost. It's pointless. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Joseph.
Well, no. After you're done.
Oh, well, yeah. But, I mean, if you're going to criticize somebody's sexuality, something that has nothing to do with you, that doesn't affect you in any way, you might as well ostracize somebody for their choice of Timbits, you know?
Just really quick, since he mentioned tidbits, and since Chris and now Jessica is busting my ball over it, and yes, I properly avoided a plural there. Okay, slip of the teeth, but still, my point being, etymology, not entomology. Study of words and their origins, study of insects. Bite me!
Actually, the bugs can
Ant-made
more than
words.
birds can. All right, so since we're stretching a little longer than I expected and anticipated, let's just go ahead and do this really quickly. People are going ahead and putting together this change.org thing that says that he should be no longer considered the winner of the decathlon, and all of his, I'm using it this way, medals should be revoked.
That's just witch burning.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
I have a
Witch hunting.
I have a question.
Allow me one nonverbal gesture to that in response.
Yeah. Yeah, Tech.
I'll do you one better, sir.
I was going to say is I find it interesting that people think, oh, well, they changed later on in life, so we should punish them for their past achievements. It's one thing to go after, what's that French Tour bicyclist?
Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong, because he was found to have cheated with performance-enhancing drugs for most of his career after his the surgery and everything else. So going back and going, okay, these times he cheated, so this is why we're taking him these medals away, because we determined that during that time he was being unethical. But with Jenner, when she was a he, that doesn't, just because you have a gender dysphoria doesn't mean that you were doing something unethical at that time.
No, it doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't make sense at all, to go after that. And a lot of these public figures that are attacking Jenner are the same one who defended Duggar. The one who molested.
Just so you know where their priorities are.
It makes emotional sense because their entire goal is just denigrating the person as a whole, just to do anything possible to bring them down. That's it. Yeah. It's all about just like devalidating. Is that even an English word?
No, you're right.
Devalidating your enemy. It's just making them seem
devaluing.
Invalidating.
Invalidating. Invalidating. And
yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand invalidations.
Yeah, I don't know who they could petition, like this change.org. Is it petitioning the IOC?
Yes, the IOC, but they've already come out and said that they will not be even considering any action on it. So there's that.
All right, no, that's good. Because if the IOC did cave, I would be calling for a global boycott of the Olympics as a whole.
Yeah. No, they've basically also given the two-fingered salute, and mine are freshly manicured, by the way.
Hey. This is not a power of 10. Now I feel...
You guys got
No.
My statements were all either quoting or stating the name of something.
Yeah, so Joe, when I said it, well, I said this is my nonverbal gesture, and I didn't say anything after that, so that, 20 years from now when somebody listens to the podcast audio version of it, they won't know what the heck I'm talking about. You see.
But I said two fingers to you.
Enough saluting, damn you!
Okay, so the best
we can get all kinds of nonverbals here since we're such a multicultural show.
Can I just add one thing?
Very quickly,
the science on the sexuality of people, it's been around since the 1970s. My university in my hometown was a big part that they have a big medical division, and they were pretty prominent in studies from the 1970s. And it's down to a hormonal, quote-unquote, imbalance in the pregnant mother during the fetal stage that decides sexuality. And that's been recently confirmed through neuroscience, where they discovered a network, a neuron network in the brain that's inactive in women and activated in men.
And another
And
argument.
this is supposedly activated by the male sexuality is activated by testosterone.
Yeah. And another argument for this case is argument that has been brought up about families where the mother has multiple male children. The later you are in the lineup, the more the mother's body treats the male components of your developing fetus as an intruder. Because the body begins to build, in a sense, an immunity to it, which some people have likened to effeminizing later males down the line. So,
Yeah, Chris, you
can I
got the
just
last
jump in on the etymology thing, because this is something that bugs me. Yeah, I ain't gonna let that one drop either. You were, yeah, because if you're talking about the science behind sexuality, but what we were actually discussing was gender identity, which is
But that's another level, because
which is a separate thing.
it is, but it's not. There's a base to that, because I mean.
Okay, now hold on. I'm gonna put the lid on this one right here, because this is a far bigger piece than what we can do with right now, which really wasn't what I was going for. I would really like to cover this one probably in. Wait a minute. What we're on 67 now, 68, 69. Okay, 2 weeks from now, we'll cover this in much greater detail. With
if you could, I'd love to do that, but if it's possible. I don't know if anyone can find anyone that actually knows what they're talking about on the subject.
That's part of what I want to do.
That would be great.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to see if I can put out some feelers and see if I can get somebody who has a much better grasp on this whole thing than what we lay people will have. Because there's a big piece. I do not know who I'll be able to get. I will be open to suggestions. Folks, fire me over an email. And I'll see who I can contact. Shujin Tribble. Use podcast at holycrapthevlogcast.com. Utilize that, and I will see who I can come up with and who I can contact. I don't know who I'll be able to, but at least we'll have a lot more that we can work with on this, because this is there's a big thorny problem with this that I really don't want us to get wrapped into incorrectly. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's that I don't want to do it wrong, and I get the feeling that we're going to start swirling around something that we're not going to get to correctly.
Yeah.
So we're going to hold on to that for right now.
Not to mention that etymology is something where splitting hairs gets down to a fine art.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to be screwing around with that one. I will share with everyone one of the best analogies that I have heard, and I'm kind of modifying this a little bit for the folks that might have a better understanding. If I won a first place medal in the three-legged race in grade school, I don't have any reason to think that somebody is going to take away that first place ribbon when I graduate from high school because I'm no longer 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's all coming down to the same piece. So all you that have got a problem with Bruce no longer being Bruce, tough. Ain't your life.
Hello, Bruce.
It's hers.
You can Bruce.
In these people's mentality, it's no matter what you do, if you're not on their team, it's wrong, and that's it.
And you know what? Far as I'm concerned, not your life. Shove off. Leave it alone. And Joe, you had it exactly on the head. So now that we've gone ahead and burned a first hour, wow, that went a lot longer than I was anticipating. Wow, this is definitely a story that we need to deal with later, because we've also got the Duggars that I want to cover, because oh god.
Shujin, if I
started on that.
Yeah, Joey.
If I may, just to build on your commentary, Some of you might recognize some of these, if I can get this back on here. They've been sitting in the closet for a while.
Oh, wow.
These are mine.
Explain, because audio.
These are my military medals. See? Dingle, dingle. Essentially...
Would it be okay to actually name off what they are?
Let's see. These aren't all of them, but these are the ones that I had on a rack at the time when the last time I actually wore medals to a thing. The first one down here is the Korean Defense Service Medal. Yes, we still issue medals for the Korean War because technically it's still going on.
Damn.
The War on Terrorism Service Medal. The Expeditionary War on Terrorism Service Medal, meaning difference being I signed up during, I got deployed during.
Mm-hmm.
The Iraq Campaign Medal. I also have the Afghanistan. Yes, I do actually, but not here. I also have the like I said, this is not the final loadout that I had. The National Defense Service Medal and the Army Achievement Medal, which at the time this was the highest one that I'd been given. I actually have one of these with V device at this point, but it's not here. Essentially, it is equivalent to you saying I should have these stripped away from me because I am no longer a military service member.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very, very, very good way of putting it. I don't see that there's too much of a difference then.
I'd like to see one of these Duggar lovers come knocking on your door, Joe.
I don't think they'd like that very much.
No, but I
I'm
would.
thinking not.
Actually, I could see a better argument being said that they should be taken away from you because, well, you're dead. Oh, wait.
Yeah, let's not even open that can of worms because... Yeah.
Your medals can be passed on to your family as part of your last will and testament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a
That's-
couple. I got a couple different racks laying around because 8 years, a lot of stuff changes in 8 years. That's why these things are modular. You can take things off the racks and put them back on, and it's like...
There you go. All right. So the actual topic that I was going to be covering tonight was from one of the people that we know who emailed in, Keelix, who basically had said, you know, you've got all of these different terms that get used, like faith and belief, and what about covering that kind of thing? So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're probably not going to hit anything in any regimented way, but we're gonna cover a couple of the ones that kind of like what we covered the tropes episode. We're going to kind of hit the stuff that we've heard time and again that really kind of make us go, you're using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Because we've heard a couple of these. For instance, the big one that always comes up is faith versus belief versus trust, which is the big three that constantly get swirled around over and over and over again. If you have watched The Atheist Experience of Austin, if you've listened to the podcast from them, you will have heard Matt Dillahunty incessantly commanding people to please understand that there's a difference between all three of these. Not formally, of course, but you can't... There is faith, and it has its special thing. There is belief, and it has its special thing. And then there is trust, and its special thing. And they are similar, but they are not the same damn thing because they're not the same damn thing.
Trust can be tested, and faith has no... and belief and faith, they have no such requirement.
That's a good start. That's a good starting off point. One of my favorite ones that Matt had always used was... Trust is something that is expected and shown to be expected more often than it's not. For instance, I will expect that if I sit on a chair, it will not suddenly disintegrate under me. I have trust that that chair is built properly and is not jury-rigged in such a way that it will be all kinds of funny for people to watch me and put on candid camera later. That's not his terminology for it, but that's basically what it comes down to. Who wants to chime in on anything else on these pieces?
Well, the one I always like to use is I term it more like confidence, but confidence that, say, the sun is going to rise tomorrow. Because all of our evidence that we have up until this point tells us that the likelihood is very, very high that that will continue to happen, because we have no reason to believe otherwise.
You've tested it, and I mean, you've tested it. It's like conducting an experiment, and every time you conduct the experiment, there's always the same result. So the next time you do it, you can expect the same result.
Exactly, but it's confidence. It's not, because I've had people say, "Oh, well, you have faith in gravity, or you have faith in, in the sun rising." I'm like, no. Or my favorite is, you have faith in evolution. No, I have confidence in those things because they have been repeatedly proven to be reliable.
Reasonable
Yeah.
expectations.
It's the two different meanings of the word faith that they like to bait and switch.
Yes.
And
in fact, that's the hallmark of the presuppositionalists, is to change the meanings of words indiscriminately.
And I love how they always go back to dictionary references, and there's just one thing I'd like to clear up about that, is that dictionaries are not like Bibles. They don't dictate, they record the use of a word, because words evolve over time.
Exactly.
And the dictionary is actually after the fact. So, to refer to a word's dictionary meaning as though it was fixed doctrine, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, there is no better example of that than to hear at the end of every year, what words have been inducted into the Oxford English Dictionary this year, and to hear people just,
and I remember my English teachers in school lamenting that ain't had been added to the dictionary.
Or even, for more recently, for some of us around here, might hit a little close to home, words like planet.
Really?
Yes, they were planet was redefined because Pluto.
Right.
We had not had a redefinition of the word planet since its inception back, technically its inception predates this, but since its application to what we identify as planets about 2,000 years ago.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, planet is one of those words that has been in ancient parlance, and I'm using it that way for a reason, and really didn't have as clear a definition as we had always thought, until somebody finally said, hey, we really need to explore exactly what this means, because we've got problems.
Because up until that point,
we found something.
Well, not only that, but up until that point, we had no means of further exploring what exactly we defined then as planets. For a long time, we identified Ceres and Vespa as planets. Technically, the sun was considered a planet.
Yep.
The moon. And these definitions do shift as we have new information introduced into the system.
Or cultural changes. For instance, the word surf would be a good example of that.
And turf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because turf used to be the ground, and now it could be to throw something out.
Joshua, my dear, I refuse to even acknowledge that word, so...
What,
no.
turf?
No.
Surf.
No. Look at the comments!
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And by the way, as an aside, my apologies, Josh. The name comes up differently currently, and I slip of the mind, and my apologies. And I will try very, very hard to remember. My head gets a little out of the game, into the game, out of the game, into the game, depending on what's going on. So please forgive me if I've forgotten again. I'm trying really hard to remember.
There might be a correlation to caffeine intake on this one, although we would have to experiment and find out.
There is a decided lack of caffeine right now. Leave me alone. There's a story about
I find
that.
your lack of caffeine disturbing.
Yes, especially considering.
Oh, yeah, and here I am missing the phone cover I just bought recently.
Was it made out of caffeine?
No, it's a picture of Darth Vader holding an electric guitar doing this thing, going, I find your lack of heavy metal disturbing.
Okay, so since we need to break down a couple of these, we need to start off with the term faith, because as much as I absolutely positively love and adore listening to Matt Dillahunty absolutely rip apart people who don't know what in the hell they're talking about, he keeps using the same explanations of stuff over and over and over again. And even though it is technically accurate,
which is the best kind of accurate,
it doesn't get the information across nearly as clearly as it could. Like his definition of atheism, which drives me up a wall. I know he's right, but it's all right. So anyway, as was stated before, faith is accepting something is true, even though there is no way of testing that it's true. That's faith. To me, that is the best working layman's term explanation for the term faith. Anybody want to go ahead and work off of that? Have a different heretic woman?
It also gets used as a substitute for confidence, which it should not.
And that is something that I am constantly at fault at, though in recent history I have avoided using the word when at all possible. Usually the only time I use it anymore is when speaking of another person and using it in the statement, in good faith. Which I think does apply because I am trusting that person with something, but then again, I may not know that person very well, so I really have nothing to back that trust.
Right.
Well, look at relationships. You know, if your significant other is stepping out on you or you're stepping out on them, what are you being? Unfaithful.
Yeah.
So,
but that's
it's substituted there for, again, trust.
Yeah,
because you want to trust your significant other that they're going to what's the opposite of infidelity?
Faithfulness.
Yeah, like you're trusting them. Yeah, you're trusting them to maintain the fidelity of the marriage or the relationship, I should say. So, yeah, they're being unfaithful. Yeah, like I can see where a word like faith can really be interwoven, almost malignantly into language.
Yeah. Because if, when you're talking with somebody, that's the whole point of communication. You're going to adapt your vocabulary to their understanding of words. And that's something that, these guys just won't do. They're only going to use their own terminology and try to make it seem as though, just like through the bandying about the meaning of words, that you're actually saying the same thing as them, which is the whole point of their debating you, is to try to bring you over to their side. It's like it's a lack of ability to adapt, I call that. But anyways. So, like with certain people, we're going to avoid using certain words because they're just going to misconstrue the meaning, and sometimes.
Yeah, but then they will try as hard as they can to establish the rules in their favor.
All that says to me is that they're just not interested in communicating with me. That's all.
Well, no. What they want to do is they want to put a perceived win in their column by, look at Matt Slick and Art and Raw. If I got that one right, because I've been wrong before.
Yes,
No
and that was caused by Slick's use of the term faith.
Oh yeah,
he was trying to establish its meaning, and then once the meaning was established, he would move the goalposts, just like a presuppositionalist would.
Yep.
So that even though you are lined up at the target and you're ready to debate it, well, he changes the word and says, well, no, you're not talking, you're not addressing my interpretation of the word.
Yeah,
we already established. No, we didn't. It's.
I would have just stopped using the word.
Well, and I think he tried that too. I came into that just as Aaron was leaving, but I spoke to him about it later on Forbidden Fruit, and that's what he said. He realized that there was nothing that he could do to make Slick stop doing that, and so he said at that point it became futile for him to continue, and that's why he left the debate, because he said Slick was playing dirty, he wasn't going to stop, and that was it. There was no point.
Keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that was
that was the Princess Bride.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know that. But the Matchstick Aaron Ra one was one where Aaron had repeatedly gone to great pains to define the words he was using and how and how he was using them. On there repeatedly, and this was a case of Matt Slick deliberately trying to foist his interpretations and meanings onto Aaron.
And when they do that, the worst thing is they'll grab, because in a dictionary there's, the most common usage of the word is usually the number one definition, and they'll go like 5-6 lines down and pick some like obscure definition that is either no longer used or very infrequently used and tout that as what that word means.
Yeah, or used in a particular context.
Yeah.
And then take it to abuse it in that sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of my favorites is evidence.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, okay. Before we go into that, this is a piece that I think we really need to we should really hit on. When somebody is going to go ahead and use definitions that are functionally obsolete, that is. I'm sorry. Dishonesty is a good word. I was going to say dirty pool. Because it's a bait and switch technique of saying, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this word, which in common parlance means not what I want it to mean, but it once upon a time when Shakespeare first coined the term, it meant this, because that's what I want it to mean now. It's a shell game that drives me up a wall whenever I've seen it in an online debate and in between debate. And Joey, I'm going to hit you first. With what you have seen so far of our newest friend, do you get the funny feeling that that's exactly the kind of technique that he'd be going with?
I'm sorry, what technique again?
Bait and switching, basically saying, I'm going to use this term, but I'm going to claim it because it has got a functionally obsolete connotation.
Well, that, and he likes to make up words. I'd say the worst thing about this individual is that the term debate does not seem to register with him. He applies his own definition to it in the first place. So honestly, I can't look at any of his debates. I've seen several of them, and sitting through them was one of the most painful experiences I've ever had to do.
I've sat through it with him live, and yes, he does employ those techniques.
Among other ones, which
yes,
I could spend, the next half an hour enumerating all of them, but needless to say, they're all pretty damn shady.
Plus, we don't have nearly the amount of alcohol that would require.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
I've also tangled with a, for lack of a better word, disciple of Matt Slick, that Chad fellow who was going around trolling all of the atheist podcasts that he could call into. And,
yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, yeah, Bill Robbins demolished him fairly well.
And that's like pulled cash.
He did it with, what the hell word was it now? There was I believe there was a word he kept changing the meaning of, and I knew it and it's gone right out of my head, but it drove me batty, and this was the first time I'd ever actually even really heard of a presuppositionalist. I just happened to call in forbidden fruit at the same time. And, I kept saying, that is not the common meaning of that word, and that is not how I am using it. And he just kept going back to, and I wish I could remember what the hell word it was now, but it had something to do with him saying that we were all just chemical reactions and we couldn't have any morality and all of that crap. But, it didn't matter how blue in the face I said, this is how I am using this word. He would just go back, well, that's not the meaning of that word, that's not the meaning that I'm using. And it's like, well, then there's nothing to go further with, because we're not talking about the same thing anymore.
Yeah, and sometimes you can find an alternative word, but in many of these cases, in order to express yourself concisely in any way, there's some of these words that have these weird meanings that the people jump on that you pretty much have to use.
Yeah. Well, and you had the good one there of theory. That one gets very horribly abused.
Yeah, because it's got the
colloquial
usage, and then the scientific usage, which are vastly different. So, as most listeners will probably know, the theory, every colloquial use is like an idea or a guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in the sciences, it's something that has been tested and is supported by lots of evidence.
That's the one thing I've always found interesting, like listening to creationists. They say, well, evolution is just a theory. Well, isn't creationism a theory too then?
Yeah.
Or is it something else? Like,
no.
No, but I would like to hear them say that creationism is a theory as well.
No, it's for two reasons. I'd say it fits neither definition. A, because it's not a guess. It's deliberately constructed for a purpose of trying to shoehorn the Bible into and their religious beliefs into certain areas. And it certainly doesn't meet the other definition of theory because there is no evidence for it.
Oh no, you're right.
But
what I'm saying is,
it falls apart.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, they call evolution a theory, based on the colloquialism of a theory not being 100% true.
Yeah.
But then they say creationism is just the same as evolutionism, so are you saying that creationism is a theory as well?
Yeah.
The best global definition of theory I can think of is to the best of our knowledge.
Yeah.
That applies to both camps. But the definition of knowledge, of course, for somebody more scientific-minded and somebody more inclined to follow doctrine, it's a bit different.
Yeah, and honestly, even words that we ascribe to being completely solid, such as law in scientific terms,
God.
are not items that are beyond scrutiny or change. I mean, good example, we've got several laws in the realm of science that over either the decades or the centuries since their coining have changed quite drastically.
Yep. Now, it's funny you should say it this way because I want to ping pong a couple of you guys off of each other for this one. Tech and Joseph, I want you guys to listen in on this one because I'm going to get both of you guys because you've both got vastly different pieces of information on this one. Tech, I want to get you first off because you are, and you have been, and Tech?
Ladies and gentlemen, the sleeping atheist.
Sorry about that.
Please tell
Is he
me
sleeping?
it didn't happen.
He did it again.
No.
Is he awake again?
Yeah, I'm
No.
awake again.
Oh, he's awake. Okay.
All right, you scared me, man. Okay, I was going to hit you. Are you still okay to go on?
Yeah. No, I was just.
He was just resting his eyes.
I was resting my eyes. What the hell was the freaking topic again?
It was a passive commentary on what we were talking about.
Great. This is going to be just great. All right. Anyway, I'm going to ping pong you and Joseph against each other on this one because you both have completely opposite pieces of information to work on this. So, as someone who has been and theoretically continues to be an IT person, someone who deals with computers, the syntax of the language that you use for programming something, whether it's a web page or an actual program or whatever, is there wiggle room for nuance? And if so, is that good or bad if somebody tries to use any kind of nuance for the language that's used?
Only in XML.
Don't worry,
with the syntax error, I mean that's just it's like bad spelling. There's specific commands based upon what you want to do. You use what do they call it? Basic variations and controls that are added in addition to the syntax.
Variable.
Yeah, like.
But you have to link it back to the
limiters, things like that. You can.
The best way of describing it would be something like you
like
get
you're ordering
the
a burger,
nuances
okay?
from
Anybody
like
can go in and
properties
say
and values.
burger, but you can change out what kind of burger it is based on burger, ketchup, lettuce, tomato. And maybe you can interchange those around. You can do burger, tomato, lettuce, ketchup, and you're still going to get the same 3 toppings. But if you go in and you order and you say, I want a ground up beef patty, and the people behind the counter are going, I'm expecting the word burger, you're going to get a syntax error.
Okay, so for programming, you've got set and specific words with set and specific meanings, set and specific...
often in specific order.
Yeah, okay.
Or in specific relation to other commands. You can achieve nuance by modifying some values of, for example, like attributes or commands.
Attributes.
Thank you. Yeah. On there, but it's very, very specific, and there is, and the computer will do exactly what you tell it.
Yeah, computers are stupid. They don't have the ability to look at something the way we do. and reinterpret it.
Yeah, no, and if what you've told the computer to do isn't what you thought you told it to do, then that's your fault.
Okay, so to put a
I
cap
just
on
have to-
this piece.
I just have to come back to my first years as a programmer were kind of difficult because like I would end every line of programming with A.
Yay.
It didn't work.
Well, if you commented out, it's not that big a deal. Okay, to put a cap on
Was that the
Yes.
Was that like the Mormon school of programming?
No, it's a Canadian.
No, that was Canadian School of Programming.
Right, so the cap on this particular piece, and okay, both
Put the cap on it. You could
trust me.
You could have wiggle room by helping to expand or redefine the language that you were using.
Can I just tie this in, because that's actually a good analogy, the computer and all that, because the computer is a fixed language set in stone. Okay, you can't go outside of that, and that's kind of how theists tend to operate, is that they operate on a list of rules and a dictate, and you can't stray anything outside of that, just doesn't compute.
I'd say that's what they claim to do. What they actually do is do whatever the hell they like, and then find some way of making their holy book
as long
justify it.
as it's for their team, because they just
are we
have
talking about
no
religion or Microsoft?
Well,
Yeah.
it's yeah. I could make an analogy about the spread of Windows and religion, but anyway, but it's about adaptability.
Yes,
You know,
close enough.
and theists just don't have it, because you know, in every situation where we're having a conversation, the point is to adapt to the situation and make ourselves understood. But for them, it's not that.
Okay,
It's
so
a fixed set of rules.
Okay, so here's
Just like
the
a computer program.
All
Sorry.
right, here's the piece I want to get with this one, and trust me when I say it will make sense in a couple of moments. It may not at first. Then I'll get you all three for this one. The question is, at this point, is Java and JavaScript the same thing, even though they both have the first word the same? Don't give me any nuance to it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. There's actually a reason why I'm going this way. Now, Joseph, here's why I wanted to get you on this one and saying it's a diametrically opposite piece that you've got, specifically. You are fluent in French. I'm setting this out to make sure everybody's understanding on this one. In the French language, there are, of course, just like with pretty much every other language, a root word. Joey knows full well because it's kind of his thing. Every word has got its root that it comes off of. In German, you just keep adding more syllables until it becomes too unwieldy for an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which has actually come to thinking of it. I think that's how you English originally got the A4, A8, A45 length page, whatever the hell. I don't care. Don't worry about it.
That is.
Buffalo.
I thank you for mentioning Germany on that one. But they don't just add syllables. They just instead of taking parts of words and putting them together for a new meaning, they just take the entire word and tack it on to another entire word, and they just keep going and going and going. Aufklärungspanzer.
Okay. The point being, Joseph, with French, as I've come to understand it, the French will utilize a root word, a root term, and then modify it, add to it, make some subtle changes for additional nuances, as I've understood the French language. Now, my upbringing is almost entirely English, some Spanish, which has got very set and specific suffixes and changes that need to be added. Do I have a rough, and I will admit very rough, understanding.
No, because they're pretty fixed on words themselves, but what they're masters at is the context of words. They can use one word. If they create a different context around a certain word, it has a completely different meaning.
Okay.
But that's using other words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, putting it into different. No, that's all right. Like I've said before, learned something new today. That's good. Which
They're actually
is
sticklers for the use of words. Actually.
okay. Okay. Then I guess I'm not really in the place that I thought I was, because I had now this is one of the reasons why I love doing this show. I thought I was going to have a really great analogy of okay. Here's because my assumption has now gone wrong, and this is what happens. So real quick, teaching moment for everybody. Yay!
But if you go back to the origins of French is basically bastardized Latin. Because if it wasn't for Catholicism, we'd all be speaking German here.
Or some variation of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so where I was going on this was my anticipation that computer language is set, it is fixed, you have specific instructions with specific words, and those specific pieces are set, that's it. You get nuance by saying, I want to add something new to it, versus what I anticipated with like French, where you make minor modifications to extend a little bit, but you've still got the word, but you add nuance that way. And see, this is what happens when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And you ask questions and you think, okay, do I have this right? And you look like a dumbass because you're wrong.
Well,
it's nice to
you
be
don't
the
look
king
like a
sometimes.
dumbass because if you learn something new, you're a better person. So there's no point in having any.
Computer languages are, by their strict mechanics, are devoid of nuance.
Yeah.
To accomplish a goal, you perform this statement. Where the supposed nuance comes in is how you take a collection of the rigid statements and organize them to perform the task that you want the program to do.
And when you're doing that, you're basically inventing your own language and applying it on top.
Well, in a way, you're translating an algorithm, or in this case, a sentence, from one language to another, from, say, English to French. French, in this case, being my analogy to the computer program. How it's going to look at how the program code is going to look at the end is definitely not going to be English unless you're using COBOL, and if you are, my sympathies. Some people get it. Some people need to retire.
Oh, jeez.
Now,
or trans.
Interesting story on that one, but that's for another time. Now, when you get into what they call object programming, where you have a set object with a set number of characteristics. Yeah, just go with me on this. But again, you can sort of nuance that just by manipulating the different properties of that object. And if none of those match your expectations, well, then nowadays you can design your own object to, again, get your point across a little more clearly. But it still remains the basic statements, the basic lines, commands of a computer program do not have that nuance. It's all in the arrangement of multiple statements and commands is how you get your nuance.
Yeah, there's a piece about this I want to make sure that non-programming folks get a good grasp of. Heretic Woman, here's a good piece, because you typically have your bottle of booze with you there. What is your current bottle of choice?
Tonight we are drinking Barefoot Moscato.
Okay, here's the piece that I want to go with. You've got your bottle there. I called it your bottle of booze for the night.
Yes.
That is the name of the object. What is this object? I hear it from the way that it's ringing against your ring. It's glass.
Yeah. Yes.
It has certain size, volume, color, label,
Yep.
contents.
It's made of bare feet.
Says like rabbits.
Yeah,
What, is this some kind of new atheist thing? It's made from baby feet?
Yeah. Oh, baby! It looks like a baby's footprint actually. If
Yeah, it
you
does.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so for non-programming people, that would be an object. It is we have the term for it, which in this case I accidentally coined as the bottle of booze for the night.
Yep.
Yes.
And it has certain parameters. It's a glass bottle. It's a specific shape. It's a specific size. It's a specific color. A specific content. It has a specific amount of those contents. It has a specific label, etc., etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
All those pieces that go into what is, quote, your bottle of booze for tonight, unquote. That is an object. You could theoretically take that object and put it into a video series. Oh, funny how that works. And the point of it is, in programming now, there are ways where you can take a specific set of controls and variables, something that makes up a tank AI for a game. Drop it in. It's got specific parameters that are already built in there because they're already expected, and you can go in there and you can tweak it a little bit. For instance,
Most of them broken.
For instance, Heretic Woman, after you finished all of the booze in said bottle of booze, you could conceivably wash it out and make your own homeopathic air by adding water to it, right?
I sure could. Absolutely.
Funny how that works. You just shake it up.
Water remembers being air.
Though to be fair, the AI at least drives a tank better than Joseph does. I know this from experience.
But the point of it is, the objects are stuff that's expected. They're anticipated because it's been shown to be in a specific fashion time and time and time again. Those objects are a common idea that can be dropped in anywhere. And in language, every concept that we have ever utilized is one of those objects, because we have, as Carl Sagan put it, the concept of the number 0 has, and if I'm quoting him correctly, an elaborate underpinning. And it's true, because we did not, society, humans, did not have the concept of the number 0 for a long time. And even now, we think of that in terms of, what? How could that even be? The concept of the number 0 didn't apply for the longest time. And then somebody finally said, hey, we've got this new idea. So our understanding of how words are supposed to be utilized falls with a lot of foundational work and a lot of baggage that if you don't take into account, if you don't acknowledge, and you completely shelve it because you want to give it a new coat of paint that wasn't there by anybody else's expectation, that's dishonest at the very, very least.
That's exactly what I was thinking, is if your opening statements, or if your discussion prior to a debate is a discussion of what words mean, it's time for the rational person to stand up and walk away and just say, I know exactly what you're doing, and I'm not going to let you get away with it.
Pigeon chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Microevolution, anyone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Before we go past
Observational science.
Yeah.
Oh,
was it
historical science.
So
You know,
That's my favorite.
I've been listening. I was listening to a guy by the name of I've mentioned before, King Crocoduck.
Yes.
He did a really good breakdown of the Ken Ham Bill Nye debate a while back, and listening to Ken Ham constantly talk about historical science.
God, that was so painful.
I know, but here's the thing: like he talks about historical.
Book, you know.
Yeah, but like he talks about historical science as being things that happened in the past that there's your operative word there, we did not see. We weren't there. So are you telling me that we're coming up now? Well, strike that. We're in 2015. 101 years after the start of World War I. I'm reasonably certain that the majority of the people who were around when that travesty broke out, they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
So does that mean that, according to the observational science model, that's what it is now? It's observational science because we weren't there.
It's historical science. Yeah.
It's something.
Oh, sorry, historical science. My mistake.
It is something to note that the only people who we may have a handful of people still alive who were alive during that time, but we have no veterans left who were alive from that time.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Is what happens, let's say in 2046.
And that's something I was going to bring up, was something we are starting to realize is that when I was in high school and we got to the chapters on World War II, we were still looking at it as if it were recent history. Like it was something that, from a historical perspective, you could just say happened yesterday. Or at least last week. But,
Joe,
yeah, I know.
Let me tell you something.
I know.
My mother and my father were both there. My father fought in the Norwegian underground resistance against the Nazi occupation. My mother suffered through the Nazi occupation and fought in her own way. You want to talk about... I am one generation removed from that. So, you know,
my granddad,
it really hits home. Yeah. My grandpa...
this year, and he was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
The RAF, because the Canadian, they didn't have an Air Force in the Second World War.
We just provided the facilities to train the pilots.
Everybody stop. Everybody stop. Everybody stop. My grandmother was a sergeant in the Army Air Corps during World War II. That was the closest thing we had to an Air Force back then.
Yeah.
That ultimately did become the United States Air Force. But before that, they were the Army Air Corps.
Yep, and it
That's
was
awesome.
the wax and the waves. And by the way, Dallin, I know I speak for all of us over here where I really don't want to be picturing both of your parents wielding battle hammers and battle axes and horns and the whole... I don't ever want to have that image in my head.
Let me okay. After the war, my father graduated from military college. His two disciplines, Joe, you're gonna love this. Accounting and demolitions.
That's a bit of a juxtaposition.
Yeah,
That allows you to
the
account
same
for what
thing.
you've blown up.
yeah. If he can't cook your books, he'll just blow them up.
I'm just trying to figure out how and where, outside of Mythbusters, that these two might actually coincide, but I just...
Well, you need to know how much it costs to blow up a building.
Damn it!
Well,
I'm feeling like I'm on a Maximum Fringe show again because, like Nick, you took my answer. God damn you!
But I was gonna say though, if from the Ken Ham School of Stupid, if we can't believe something because we weren't there, then stop burning things, Joe. Then how do we know that Jesus supposedly existed because no one was there when he existed? Even the people that wrote the damn book.
They haven't book.
So
But that word comes up, faith.
Oh, I know, but
We have faith that it happened.
yeah, well, if we aren't allowed to believe things that we actually have proof for, then why should he get to have his faith in fake crap?
because science is a recorded experiment that you can test yourself if you want. It's actually an invitation.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think this is the piece where we're gonna go ahead and end it off with.
If I can just jump in
Well,
really quickly on that.
Hold on. I'm gonna get everybody's piece on this. I'm not closing it. I'm not closing the door completely right yet. I'm just saying this is the area where we're going to end up closing this off with. Chris, go right ahead.
One of the things I thought of immediately now that we're just over 100 years from the start of the First World War, and from the Second World War, there is very few people left that were actively part of that. There's disturbing quote that say, people who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, and I've heard stories of people whitewashing history, particularly some of the more unpleasant parts of America's history, like any reference to slavery and stuff going out of some schools' texts. In China, there's people don't know about even the Tiananmen Square.
Japan too.
Massacres because it's been completely whitewashed, and that was only sort of 20 or 30 years ago. Sorry, 20 years ago. And these things need to be recorded and known in history. And yes, we do know they happened because we've recorded the accounts, and we can see the evidence of what's happened, and record that evidence for the future, and actually learn from it, and hopefully not make some of the same horrible mistakes again.
Mm-hmm.
But look what ISIS is doing now to humanity's history.
They're trying to erase it in the hopes that, say, 100 years from now.
No,
they
there's
can say
only
it-
us. We have been here all along. There's nothing but us, but
Yeah,
our way.
they're trying to set
Yep.
the stage for the massive attack of doublethink.
Yeah.
This is one of the book burning, the whitewashing or rewriting of history is one of the first things oppressive regimes do, and it's why we need to study this and learn from it.
Any totalitarianist regime has done that, and I mean, and I equate religion with totalitarianism. I mean, it's just totalitarianism with extra woo. It's unithought.
Okay, Joey, go ahead.
Well, another thing that I would like to quickly touch on with that is that it's not just the fact that we can verify these things happen based on evidence and all that. The further you go, the more indifference a particular item or event is treated with. For example, yesterday was the 71st one word at a time, anniversary of the invasion of Normandy. 71, which officially means that if we go by the standards of life expectancy here in the U.S. today, it is pretty much a generation ago, a full generation, not just partial. We are losing part of our understanding of that, because it's more and more becoming a situation where we don't even have people to talk to who were even born around that time, let alone participated in it. And when you get into something as long-lived as ancient history, it becomes all that much more easy for people to just brush it under the frickin' brush it under the carpet, or misuse it, or nullify it, or whatever. Sorry, that's rambling now. My bad.
No worries. Heretic One.
That's your point.
I hear you, man.
Oh, I was just going to say, my friend Dave from Kitchener here, he had a point that he said, "Hey, Canada had an air force, and it delivered the mail with valor and bravery."
Thank you, Matt.
Well, you know, it wasn't the Air Force, but anyway.
Just answering the call more so for the king than country at that point.
That's okay.
Yes, I think so.
But what piece do you
So
want to...
they finally taken over from the dog sleds then?
Yeah.
No, that was Alaska.
This is a Canadian Postal Service. It wasn't.
Yeah, we did it all by goose, eh?
Yeah.
We
Which
just
is
flop
completely-
our arms really hard, eh?
Canada goose, eh?
I was going to say, which was opposed to the United States, who decided, hey, we've got all these missiles, let's send airmail the fun way. Yeah, that worked. Anyway, what piece did you
Whole
want to
new
put on there?
connotation to the word letter bomb.
Look, Canada, I cannot take any of your Air Force, along with many other things, seriously, simply because your national bird is the loon.
No, that's the Ontario. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
No.
That's right, it is
No,
national.
Ontario.
Yeah,
Just Ontario.
yeah, it's just
I think the
Ontario.
No,
snowy
no.
owl is our, I think the snowy
Wait.
owl is our national bird.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's
Yeah.
what Wikipedia is for.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
it is.
heretic woman,
Okay.
where do you want to? What do you want to close off without help from the peanut gallery over there?
Yes. I just think that it's so spurious for these people to run around with different definitions of words to suit their own nefarious purposes, and in the end, it really doesn't gain them anything because they're still wrong.
It just, for me, it just shows an inability to adapt. That's it.
Yeah.
My way or the highway. That's it.
And if you are having to sit down and think about redefining a word to suit your cause in a way that it's no one would ever rationally use it in everyday use, then you're being dishonest. And
Absolutely.
you should face up to the fact you're being dishonest.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm getting a prop together for my closing over here. Didn't switch the video yet. Don't worry, it's important. Anyway, Joseph, what would you like as a finale on this one so far?
Which Joseph?
You are Joseph.
Okay, I'm Joseph.
I'm
No, you're
trying
the-
so hard
you're the
to
one that-
remember which is which, man.
You're
Well-
the one with the harder syllable because, well, apparently things and stuff.
And pronunciation.
It is written.
Etymological thing.
Etymological. Okay. Etymological. The whole point of using a word is just to get a point across, and you don't have to use a specific. If you're a rational person, you don't even have to use a specific word. There's like 1,000 ways to get a point across without just relying on the meaning of a specific word as if it's law, biblical, dictate, whatever.
All right. And apparently we lost Chris. We'll get him back as soon as he, I don't know, pulls the string tighter on the can. Dallin, where do you want to end off on?
I'm a lover of the written word, as you know, and I'm also a lover of the spoken word. And if you can't obey the rules as they are laid out in society in terms of use of language, and you feel you have to twist it to make a common word mean what you want it to mean for those 50 or so minutes that you're trying to get your point across, you don't have a point to get across, and you should just shut your pie hole.
Wow, very eloquently put right there.
Waiting for number 70.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. We'll talk about that in a minute. Tech, what would you like to end off with, considering this at this point?
It's pretty much all been said. Just, you know, when you go in and you're functioning under, you're functioning under an indoctrination that has told you exactly what to think and say. You can't even be honest with yourself at that point. Why the hell are you trying to do anything with other people? Sort yourself out. Start functioning from a place of reason and logic, and then move on from there.
All right. A couple of pieces that I want to point out as my closing on this. I went looking up because at one time, as Dallin knows full well, at one time I was doing the flashback newscast. I'm not doing that anymore because way too much effort into something that was way too dated even after it was posted. But one of the things that I did cover was the passing of the last World War I veteran. And this goes back to February of 2012. At the age of 100, just 2 weeks prior to 111 years old. 111 years old. Passed away at home in Norfolk. A Women's Royal Air Force member had, at that time, signed up 93 years prior, in September of 1918, at the age of 17 years old. Her name was Green. Mrs. Wow, she is listed only as Mrs. Green through most of this. I can't find her first name.
Huh.
So, clue?
Candlestick.
You know what? I did not realize that it is entirely possible her first name does not appear in this article.
Wow,
I'm
that's
looking
cool.
very quickly, and I'm skipping a lot of
Florence
stuff.
Green.
Yes, it finally shows up. Finally showed up. Wow. Because it says over here, Andrew Holmes, UK correspondent for the Gerontology research group, confirmed that she was the only remaining World War I veteran in the world. He said, I am saddened by her death. Florence, there it is, was the 6th oldest person in the UK and the only remaining World War I veteran in the world. She was it. In 2012, she was it. World War I in 2012 officially passed, as far as the combat was concerned, to the annals of historians exclusively. We have no one else to go by. If you want to go by, were you there? So there was that. The other was the plaque at Auschwitz. Famously, it has been misquoted many, many, many times because the misquote is easier in some ways to say. From Church Satayana at Auschwitz, the plaque reads in English, because I cannot read the Polish, I believe it is. The one who does not remember history is bound to live through it again. It's a little bit longer, but it still gets the point across, and that's the entire purpose of what we're talking about tonight. How do you get information across properly? Because we have heard on so many occasions, as much as we don't want to grab people and pigeonhole them as, I expect that this group would, which it's all too easy to do on many an occasion, especially for presuppositionalists, because they have a tendency to do the thing over and over and over again because they are part of that object. That is one of the pieces that are expected of that object. Well, to paraphrase from one other presuppositionalist, I have an object. And I have, again, grabbing from somebody else's, I have the presuppositionalist, the dishonest speaker's nightmare. You know what this is?
An agenda?
This is better. This is
Clipboard.
a clipboard with a piece of paper and a pen. If you want to go ahead and hold somebody accountable for their words, take a clipboard and say, what was that word that you used again? Okay, how do you mean it to be? Let me write that down for you. Wait a minute, you just said this. You said it to mean this before. You remember this part? Do you want me to sign it? Would you like me to initial it? Because we were both here. It's here. I can observe it. It's right here. I was there when we wrote it down. You were there when we wrote it down. We both initialized it. It's not historical. I was there. See, that's my initials right here. I know. It was 5 minutes. I know. This is what you said. This is what you meant. You
observational
agreed to
science.
it. This is what you said. This is what you meant. We agreed to this. You can't change that now because here, this is what you said, and this is what you now meant, and these don't match, but you're using the same word. That's wrong.
I would love to be doing the AV at one of these debates, so I could just rewind the video like 10 minutes and put it up on the big screen and say, is that what you said 10 minutes ago, and were you there?
We definitely.
You know what, Chris? I would actually have one monitor dedicated just to that image. So it's written down, it's put there, it's initialized, and then it's posted up there. And then every time that individual, again waiting for show number 70, every time that person tries to change the meaning, you can just point to says
See, this
Even
is
better, you have like a buzzer go off like, eh.
This is something that comes to mind when you look at the legal system. A court, not the physical, but like the idea of a court hearing is in itself its own sort of debate. We're debating whether or not, this person is, whether a condition is true or false, whether this person is guilty or innocent of something, or whether a crime has in fact taken place. And we deem it important enough to involve a stenographer for those situations. Why can't we just have a stenographer for general debates as well? It would make things a lot easier.
So here's my piece. If you go into a debate with someone, if you are on a college campus and you go to some of these people that are out there doing their thing, bring a notebook. Bring a clipboard. You want to make a real big thing about it? Go in there with a big easel, big 3-legged easel, plop it down there with a dry erase board. Big ass one. Big ass one. Have like 2 guys carry it out with you. And put it down there and just say, no, go ahead, keep doing what you're doing. I'm just going to write down some notes and write down the key words and their meanings as they are being said. And then, do it from the other side, like you're drawing one of your French girls. And then after you're done with all that, ask them to come around to your side. This is what you said. This is what you meant in the context that you used it. That's right. Okay, good. Ding. And you got this one over here. Ding. Okay, good. Now, I want you to talk with me. Oh, wait a minute. Remember this one over here? No. Different meaning, same word. You can't do that. You need a different word. It's English. You've got a couple 100,000 words to choose from. You've got you need a word. I've got a book. Well, you've actually got the book, but if you're gonna be dishonest, the easiest way to do it is just to go ahead and bulldozer straight through somebody verbally, where the ability of recall is much diminished, because we know full well memory is an imperfect thing. We know this. We as skeptics know this. We've heard this time and time again. We know this because when Gish gallops happen, and we know what this is, we know what part of the purpose of it is. And if you've got a way of stopping it, slowing it down, freezing it in its tracks, and being able to say, here are the footprints, you have completely taken away the magician's magic. There's no illusion at that point. You can actually say, this is what you just did, and we both agreed to it. And there is no way out when there is something tangible to hold on to that you can say, I gotcha, because you put yourself there.
The other thing for gish galloping I would love to see, maybe coupled with the stenographer, is anyone gish galloping, their opponent gets, like, I don't know, 3 minutes per point they raise to answer. And so you start gish galloping and your opponent's now got 3 hours to respond.
I'll get the popcorn.
And they get the list of points from the stenographer and goes, right, I can tick off and go right through the list. Fine.
I wish I could just stop quoting this damn thing, but every time, no matter what the situation is, I find a reason to. You done goofed.
See, and me, I'm thinking if the poor stenographer is using the old version of Microsoft Word because they can't afford a new one, I can just see Clippy having an aneurysm. That's all.
Oh boy.
In any case, we gotta wrap this up, and as much as I don't expect you guys to chime in on my closing, Chris, mwah, thank you. And of course, since I got to go down the list for everybody, thank you for your time and good morning. I hope the sun is nice to you today.
Thank you, sir.
No, that was Chris I was talking to. But I mean, all right, if you want to be vain and go first, that's fine. Good morning, Joseph.
Yeah, go.
You and your percolator have fun today.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
Say goodbye, Gracie.
Oh, so yeah, greetings from Paris, France, and see you all again soon. And thanks, Shujin.
No worries. Good morning, Chris. You take care of yourself. Thank you so much.
No problem, and take care of yourself, Shujin, and all the listeners out there.
Tech, thank you for not falling asleep too much, and good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to bed.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You take care of yourself, then.
Screw this shit. I'm out of here.
Joey, I know that you're not the one doing it because I see that you're currently muted, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good morning.
I'm behaving myself.
That's the point, man. You are behaving yourself. I'm very pleased. Surprised, but pleased.
I'm not setting things on fire anymore, so...
And I don't appreciate that.
Good evening, or... You know what, screw it. For me, I still consider it evening, so bite me. Good evening, everyone, and rest well, and hopefully we will see you again next week. Until then, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Dallin, thank you very much, of course, for help tonight and all of the things that you have been up to, and thank you ever so much for that. As a reminder, Dallin will not be joining us next week, right. at least as far as we know at this point, because busy.
Yes, very busy. I will actually be, not tomorrow night, but well, actually Monday morning, I will be flying out to Pittsburgh for business. Amazingly enough, I'll be there for 2 weeks. Now, that means I will be there in a hotel on the weekend, but I might be otherwise occupied, and I'm going to leave it at that. Needless to say, so next week I won't be here. The week after, I will have been home for a couple of days, so I shouldn't look too haggard for that one.
Ted?
I was just... God damn you!
If I come back looking like that, I'll make sure to keep the camera off, okay?
Okay.
Wow.
Jake, I
So-
know your pain now. I know
Some
your
people,
So
some people walk into jokes. I tend to barrel in blindfolded. Kind of like getting jumped into a gang. Just dive in, get it over with, and you can move on with your day.
plug all the things before you get out of here, would you?
All right. As many of you know, and if you're listening, from 3059, hello. I have been working on a bit of a side project for this show, namely converting the video into audio and getting it up as a podcast. I'm pleased to announce that up to episode 21, which was having Sam Mulvey from Ask an Atheist on board, have now all been successfully posted to the RSS feed. So it's Holy Crap is now available as a podcast. I'm pretty sure iTunes has picked it up by now, and if not, they probably will because they are a bunch of web surfing cache people. Well, caching, I should say, not nothing against our buddy Cash. Needless to say, if the video's too much, you just want the audio, we got you covered. Give me some time, I'll get the rest of it up soon.
And thank you ever so much for that. Seriously, this has been a labor of love, and between the two of us, it's been tough for me to try to figure out how to do all this stuff, and Dallin's got a real job and real work time that he's been doing, and wow, crunching all the stuff on the surface, man, well done. Has it cried yet?
No, actually, it hasn't. Once everything gets up there, like I said, there is that little bit of the slowdown thing that's been happening, but I don't think there's anything we can do about that. Bottom line, though, is when the people go to the site, holycrapthevlogcast.com, plug.
Dallin.
Sorry, that's another podcast. That's another show.
No.
Holy clap.
Holy clap is what you have when you give applause and you suffer from stigmata.
See, here I was thinking that it was payback to all the overly amorous priests out there, but never mind.
Yeah.
That's great.
I
All
can
the
just see his clapping away and the blood spraying all over the place.
This is great. All of you that want to go ahead and send hate mail, please send it to Holy Crap the Vlogcast. That is 1300 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York 14222.
I never get any hate mail.
Of course,
Don't
you can
worry.
also troll me on for the Holy Clap stigmata comment. You can reach me on Twitter at unrenowned_tech.
Oh, boy.
You know what? I'm putting that on Twitter right now.
You go right ahead.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
and Dallin, in all seriousness, thank you so much for that. And for those that want to find your real side project of Outcast the Novel,
Yes, you can see that at outcastnovel.yo5.ca. And tomorrow, in between packing, cleaning, and everything else, I will be working away on the audio, and maybe that will be... I don't know why I would need a distraction for after my work day at the when I'm on site, because, well, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, and we all know who's there.
you're
Other-
going to be cleaning the pipes, as it were.
Yeah, other than Joey, okay?
There's a behind-the-scenes joke about cleaning pipes with alcohol, and we'll talk about it later. I
Oh,
promise.
geez.
It's not nearly as naughty as you think it is. I promise.
3 shows left, folks.
I know. And Heretic Woman, of course. Thank you, Han, so very much. I greatly
welcome.
appreciate. Plug all of the things.
Well, first of all, I will say that I also will not be here next week because I will be in the southern U.S. again, somewhere on a motorcycle.
Oh yes.
So, yeah. So if they let me back in again, which hopefully I got a shiny new passport, so it should be all good. So I will not be here, but I do have all kinds of other stuff, as we know. There's Beyond the Trailer Park, which we will have a show this coming Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube at Beyond the Trailer Park channel. And, of course, there's mysecularsavior.com, which is my Secular Savior podcast. And, as I say, my esteemed co-host, Kai, is at Imagine a Religion right now, having his picture taken with the Unholy Trinity and Richard Dawkins and all the other cool people. And, yeah, he's just... I can't say it because it's a power of 10. So, hi, Kai. Yeah. But yeah, we plan to do something exciting with a live show when he gets back. And yeah, I actually had some time to show up on the Forbidden Fruit radio show on Blog Talk Radio this past week, so can go find. We talked about being in the closet as an atheist, so that was kind of fun. And Maley actually behaved himself, which was sort of odd, but, you know, it happens sometimes. So there is that. And, of course, still working towards the non-conference for non-believers, which is in August 22nd here in Kitchener, featuring Lawrence Krauss and Faisal Al-Mutar and Ensaf Haider, the esteemed wife of Rafe Badawi. Also, Stephanie Guttormson from the Richard Dawkins Foundation, who was recently sued by that weirdo faith healer, which luckily he decided not to proceed with that. Armin Navabi, who is the founder of Atheist Republic. Eric Thomas, who's the president of Humanist Canada. All kinds of really awesome people to come in here. So August 22nd in Kitchener. There are some really good group rates for tickets right now. So if you have an atheist group that could make it to Kitchener, you can get some pretty good discounts on tickets if you buy in bulk. So there you go. And I think that's it.
Isn't that enough?
I guess. Oh, wait till the new show I'm involved in comes out.
You don't have enough room on your screen for any more stuff.
No, I don't. But
do you remember that? Do you remember that one episode of Air Force where they were talking about the little icons that are now on the bottom of the screen? Did you see that one?
I vaguely remember. Yes.
Yeah, well, needless to say, the gag kept going until the entire screen was filled with nothing but those translucent network logos.
Yes. I don't think I'll need to go that far yet.
I don't know.
You're halfway there already.
You're going to have to shrink the font of your name a little bit, I think, is what's going to happen.
Probably, or I can put something up beside the geographical stuff there. I don't know. We'll see, But yeah, so as I say, I'll be off motorcycling through the Smoky Mountains next weekend, so you folks will have to have fun without me, I guess.
That's okay. You'll be proudly sporting your official Holy Crap the Vlogcast t-shirt, of course, right? Of course, right?
You have one of those?
No, I don't.
I was about to say.
Shujin is rolling his eyes.
I'm on one.
Well, you see, that phone cover that I told you about earlier came from a company that does this kind of swag thing. So all you do is give them a logo, and then they'll slap it on any kind of medium you want.
Cool.
Look,
I'm looking for the Holy Crap coffee mug, personally.
You've got two graphic designers here, and you have yet to approach either of them about logo design or anything like that. So you know what? It's all on you.
Hey, I can't pay you, okay? And besides, I don't have creative control over that.
And there's a lot of mediums I'd like to slap logos on.
There's a lot of things I'd like to slap, but we need to get off.
Okay, Chris, for the record, Chris, I don't think mediums means faces, foreheads, or butts, okay? Just clear that up right now.
I was thinking of psychic mediums.
Like I said, I don't think it means faces, foreheads, or buttocks.
As somebody who's pretty well medium at this point, thank you. I'm well done. I'm Sylvia Brown. Thanks for joining me tonight, everybody. It's been a wonderful day.
Okay, so now I know I've got 2 voices I can actually do. That's great. That's wonderful.
You need some Wolverine-style claws to go with that.
Just give me a few more years of this, and I'm sure I'll be able.
Yeah,
You have to paint
he'll be able to
them.
do Al Pacino perfectly in a few more years.
Yes, we will see what happens. Meantime, we gotta see about getting out of here. As I mentioned, yes, I was on the Imaginary Friend Show .com podcast. Podcast. God,
Yes,
it's so hard to do.
Hey,
Then he corrected me on it.
Words, man.
Yeah, well, yes.
Words.
I was on episodes 258 and 259, which I felt very proud of for 2 things. 1, I didn't puke because I was very nervous. And 2, I actually almost not corrected, but I confirmed the episode number for Jake on 59. So, yeah, good for me.
I was on there too.
Not on 58 or 59 though.
No, but I was terrible. So
you were fine.
Kudos to you.
You were fine. Anyway, I made a couple of comments that were extremely geeky, and one I'm probably never going to live down, and one that Tiny Dribble fed me. So, yeah. It's her fault for that one, and you figure it out later.
Blaming your child.
I'm not blaming her. I'm giving her credit for a joke. All right, it didn't go anywhere because they didn't get it. But whatever.
This shall not pass.
In any case, thank you. I know we've been running a little bit late the last couple of episodes. I'm sorry about that. It's just the way it plays out. But as always, like to think that we've got something worthwhile for everybody. And if there's stuff that you would like us to cover at some point, please, by all means, send us an email over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. The contact information is all over there. But you can do it the easy way. You can just send the email over to podcast at holycrap. Jesus, how would I'll ask Jake to do it one of these days. Podcast at holycrapthevlogcast.com. You can send a voicemail message over to 859-HCTV-554. Phone number again is 859-4288-554. And you can find us over on Twitter, YouTube, Google+, and Facebook at holycraptv or /holycrapthevlogcast plus holycrap. You got me doing it now. I don't have enough alcohol in me, which means I haven't had any alcohol tonight. After I get done with this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drink whatever's left in my bottle at this point. Screw y'all.
But if you actually do get Jake to do the thing, wouldn't he call it something like Holly Crepe the vlog cased?
See, that's the thing. I want to find out what happens with that.
I can't believe
I like that. The vlog cased. I like that.
Holly Crepe the vlog cased.
I will get Jake on after we get off the air. I'm going to send a message over to him. I'm going to see if I can get him on here with us for a few minutes and see what happens with that. So all of you that are looking for Patreon exclusive content, don't even bother because we're not on it. We're not going to do all that stuff. And we will see what we can do. 2 weeks, like I said, in all seriousness, send me information at that email address, podcast at holycrapthevlogcast.com, to see who we can contact, who we can see about getting on the show in 2 weeks to talk about this whole thing with, remind me again, Caitlin Jenner, and we can see what we can do about this because, like I said, I do want to talk about this one, but I want to do it right. And the bunch of us without a much better professional perspective on it, we're not the ones to do it directly ourselves because we will get it wrong. We will get it freaking wrong, and I don't want to do that. So help me out on that one. Thank you very much. If you know of somebody, if you can send me the information, send them the information that we're looking for somebody, and we'll see what we can do from there. In the meantime, thank you, everybody, so very much for hanging out with us. We truly appreciate it. I will not forget you people who are listening, who are watching, and who are still looking to get your voice out there. We're here for you, and we hear you. As always, take very good care of yourself. I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And, of course, to my wife, it's a decade. Mwah. I love you, Fujin. Matane. Dream of me. And I will plug the Ride for Roswell later. We'll put it in the show notes and everything. Until the next time, everybody. Until the next time we get together. Good night.